So here's the next trade-in that I've gotten. They traded this for one of the basic push mowers, the new Murray basic push mowers. It's a John Deere. I don't really get many of these. I think this is very similar to the one that I got last year. I don't know what model number it is. JS35. I think I had a JS35 last year. Or it might have been a 36, because I think I remember it had a 7 horse or 700 series, whatever you want to call these now. 7 gross foot-pounds of torque. They said they couldn't get it to run. I don't know exactly what they did here to the handle, but it's obviously way too long. It looks like what they did just to get it in the car is they kind of shoved it in, because you can see where the way that it's supposed to be. It's supposed to lay flat on the outside of this, which I'm going to change, and it's stretching the cables right now. I couldn't get a good gauge on if it has compression or not, but I did look inside, and hopefully it does. It didn't feel like it had no compression, but it doesn't really have a bunch of oil in it. But the oil is not gray, so maybe it just didn't work very well. It's an 09 model. I'll give it a little bit more of a look, but this one actually has the electric start on it, which I don't have a key for. The battery is probably dead and the starter is off of it, so my guess is that it didn't work. And the engine block, the engine block looks whole. There's no holes in it. It felt like it had compression. It wanted to move, actually, when I got it. So see how much gas it's got in it. No, it doesn't have any gas in it either, so that'll have to be something to these fresh start gas caps aren't really good, but I guess it works for what it is. I'll have to check the air filter. The air filter looks mighty dirty on it too. So nice mower though. Hopefully we can get it fixed. I'll dive into it here shortly. So I've already cleaned out the air filter. It just had a little bit of dust in it. It's actually pretty clean. The pre-cleaner is a little dirty. With all that grass and whatnot on there, I'll probably just take the pre-cleaner off because of its age. Regular air filter works just fine on the mower. I did find out it has compression, which is good. It's one of the auto choke ones. That spring right there is a little stretched, but I don't think it will really affect too much of anything, because I've disconnected this mechanism on many different mowers before. Looking inside, it does look wet. I don't know if gas is oozed out of it or what. I might throw a little splash of gas in it just to see if it'll crank for me. And then I mounted the handle the correct way here. Just put a couple of bolts through there and tighten these up. Well, probably should tighten those up, and I did pull it back. The self-propel is engaging, which is good. Then I'll just take all this equipment right here off, like the battery and that other stuff like that off of it, just because I don't have the key and don't really care to try and get the electric start fixed if the pull start works fine, because this thing should pull on the first try anyways. So height adjuster and everything's good on it. The 1-level height adjuster, which is nice. So let me put gas in it and put some oil in it so I don't blow it up, and see if we can get this thing to fire. So it almost looks like I got a bunch of oil in the carburetor there, which it might need cleaning out. we'll see if I can at least start it the way that it is. And the blade is in good shape. The way that they folded the handle, they kind of stretched the cables a little bit, but I think they'll be all right the way that they are. I think this one pulls back enough to disengage the ground, and I know the self-propel one works. So let's see if we can get this thing to run. I'll try it without the starter fluid first, and then I'll try it with the starter fluid. If y'all saw it kick back like that, that almost makes me think it's a flywheel key. Because you can hear it kind of just shoot raw fuel out of everywhere. I'm going to try this one more time. I want to see if the rope's going to kick back on me. As you can see, we've had a ton of rain this week. My little area here, we got about 3 inches of rain this past week, so everything's stopped, kind of as an aside. But let me try this one more time. These are pretty bad for throwing flywheel keys, so let me see what we got. The way that it's acting on me makes me think it's a flywheel key. So let me get all the stuff off here to get the flywheel key off. Pretty easy fix. The flywheel should come off pretty easily as well. Your 3 5/16 to get the gas tank off, and your 3/8 down in the bottom here. And then you have 4 engine cover bolts. 1, 2. There's 2 under the gas tank that go straight down. That'll get it off. That'll get your engine cover off. That'll give us access to the flywheel. And when I get to that, I've shown y'all plenty of times, but I'll show y'all how to do it on this one as well. So I've got to the point with it where I've gotten to the flywheel nut, 15/16 on the 1/2 inch. We're going to check the flywheel key together here. And I have a blade brake right there, that blade stopper tool that I use as leverage to get this nut loose. An impact will also work. Alright, so we'll look at this together. I bet you it'll be sheared. I'll be surprised if it's not. Yeah, take a look at that. So there's where the groove is right there. And there's where the key is on the flywheel. So something happened to this, and like I said, if y'all follow my channel, I've kind of said that these, for some reason, these 675 series are bad about sheared flywheel keys. For whatever reason, I don't know. But y'all saw the symptoms that this one was giving, where it was like blowing raw fuel out of the intake and the exhaust. A lot of times, if the cord is not ripping back in your hand, then and it's doing that, one or both of those, then probably bet that it's got a sheared key. So what I'll do now is take the blade brake off. You can take the spark plug out just to make sure, spark plug boot off just to make sure it doesn't fire on us, which it shouldn't. We'll clamp down the blade brake there, and I'm going to probably try and get a rubber mallet or something just to try and tap the top of this. Hopefully it will come off, because this is a newer flywheel. They usually don't require a bunch of oomph to get them off like some of the older ones, which I haven't really been able to get off a lot of times. So let me get a rubber mallet and maybe even get a hammer, and we'll hammer this off and replace the flywheel key, because I've got quite a few of those spares for these Briggs engines, so we're in good shape. So a little leverage and a little encouragement. It was just getting a big screwdriver and kind of like a small sledgehammer, and just being really careful. You don't want to mess up the threads on the top of your crankshaft here. But I just tapped the top, provide some leverage on it, and it came off. Here's the old flywheel key in my hand. As you can see, completely sheared off. Got a new flywheel key here, or a good one. I think I took off a mower that was blown up or something like that. Stick it in the flywheel there. Actually, I might stick it onto the crankshaft itself. You can see the damage that it did when it sheared the flywheel key too. Even a little bit of damage on the crankshaft. Nothing to really amount to anything, but still worth noting, I guess. We're just going to line this up to the flywheel. We're just going to gently work it down in there. This is where you can get a rubber mallet or something just to kind of push it down there into where it needs to go, or just work its way down there. The flywheel key is really loose on there, but you can see how loose it is, but it's the right key for it. I guess that's the kind of give that it's supposed to give when it shears. I mean, it's sheared. It's not like it spun around on the crankshaft, so got that. And it's hitting where it's supposed to on the mower itself. Which is really interesting. It's got that much play in the crankshaft for that key, but the next step is pardon the loud dogs if y'all are hearing that. Like I said, I'm going to have to be really careful getting this back on, because I didn't want to damage the threads on the crankshaft, which I didn't do. I got Sparkplug disconnected, as you can see. I'm gonna put the blade brake back on, and then I'm just gonna put this back on the way that it's supposed to go, and should have a good mower here. So I got it down here in the test bed. This thing, I'm a little concerned about how loose that flywheel was on the shaft, but I don't know. I guess that's just the way some of them are made. It didn't look like, I mean, as y'all saw, there may have been a little bit of damage to the shaft, but it wasn't bowed out or anything. Might just give that little play in there just to help you get it in, but I've always thought that the flywheels and the keys were a little bit tighter fit in there. Maybe after I clamped down the cup and nut, that's probably helped it out quite a bit though. So I bet, and I'm not a betting man, but if I were, that this thing's gonna start on the first pull. But let's see. There's a reason why I don't bet. It didn't start on the first pull, so let me go get, there might be some debris in the carburetor, but let me go get some starter fluid, see if I can get this thing going. I'll give it a couple more pulls first for good measure. Alright, let me get starter fluid. As I said, that reason right there is why I don't really bet. I just bet that I can get lawnmowers fixed. So let me spray some carb cleaner in here. Let me actually lay this camera down. See if we can at least get it to fire. It might, like I said, it might need some carb work. What probably happened was this set over the course of the winter, and then they tried to start it and found out the flywheel key was sheared or something, so I'll have to get in the carburetor. So to be continued. So I'll give you all a look. It just looks like there was a little bit of crud in the bowl. There's a little bit of varnish on the carb itself, but it isn't too bad. It's mostly all confined to the bowl here. As you can see, there's just a bunch of crap in there. So I'll dump this out and clean it all out, and just clean out the whole bowl. I'll take the carb off and just kind of clean it as well. So you can see the jet's completely clogged up. So, but yeah, just a carb clean here. I wasn't thinking it was going to be this bad, considering I had a flywheel key problem. Usually when I have a flywheel key problem, the carburetors aren't gummed up like that, but this one proved me wrong. So let me take the carburetor off. So those two 3/8 inch bolts there on the side, after taking the 3 5/16 inch that hold on the air filter backing plate, and give everything a good cleaning in carb cleaner, and put it back together. So it's getting kind of dark out here now, but I put everything back together, and it actually wasn't getting any gas in the bowl. I guess some debris got caught in the needle or whatever, but took the bowl back off, made sure the gas was flowing, put the bowl back on. Gas was flowing. So let's give this thing a shot now before it gets too dark. Well, that's promising, so I'll try and take it down there and pull it and run a little bit more and see what we got. So back here the next morning now, and I think there was a little bit of water in the fuel, which is probably the reason why it was running for, 10-15 seconds. I did clean out the carburetor with compressed air. All the ports are clean on it. So, and I know that extended spring isn't really causing it not to crank, just because it's starving for fuel. It's not choking really hard. So before I put all the housing and stuff back on it, put some fresh fuel in it, and we're going to see if it cranks. I tested the spark plug and it was sparking, so I don't know if it might be a bad plug as well. I'm not sure, because it sounds like it really wants to get gas, but it's not. At least I don't think it is. And so I will see what we might have here. I'll keep pulling on. I'll do it off camera though, just to save some time. So I've determined that this thing will run for a minute or so, and then we'll cut off, I guess, because it's depleting all the gas that it has in the carburetor, which I've had happen quite a few times on these mowers. So what I will most likely do is just buy a new carburetor, since I know that I can remedy the problem for about $10 and have a nice mower that's probably going to fetch around $150, with it being this nice John Deere here. So I might go ahead and remove the battery, all this stuff, and tighten up the cable there, because there's a tightening mechanism back there, and then just order a carburetor and put it on, and when it gets here I will resume this video. So actually I had to do a quick fix to this. The people that traded this missed the mower so much that they want it back, and so I actually took a carburetor off of a mower that I got on a trade today, turned it instead from an auto choke into a primer bulb setup, and the mower's running really good. And I wanted to get it back to them just because they traded, and when you go from something like this to something like that 20-inch 350 series Murray or Hyper Tough mower, it's a huge difference in cut, huge difference in power and whatnot. So I think they realize that. That's actually not the first person that's realized that this year. But I got the primer bulb working great. Flywheel key seems to be doing well, and I'll just put closure to this video. I was doing this really quickly, so I didn't really do it on camera, but I took the cable to the battery, took the battery out, took the cables off, because that mechanism wasn't even good anymore. So did all that, and should be good to go. So let's crank it up, and I'll show you all that it runs. I'm not even going to clean it up for them, because it's just going to get dirty for them again. But
back soon.